Welcome to a new edition of See What's On, Central Maine's radio arts magazine, brought to you by Community Productions and Mix 107.9. It's Sunday, November 13th, 2016. I'm your host, Dick Dyer. Each week, we scour the region and highlight the new and the unique arts happenings wherever they might occur. From Bangor to Lewiston, from Farmington to Rockland, from lounges to formal theaters, from galleries, festivals, libraries, movie houses, and maybe even your own home. If it's on, it's on. See what's on. Brad Terry's career as a jazz clarinetist spans more than 50 years. We sat down with this legendary musician from Bath, Maine last week to begin our interview and discuss his new book, I Feel More Like I Do Now Than I Did Yesterday. In today's show, we continue that discussion and hear great music recorded live in our studio and from Krakow, Poland, and his famous commode lesson. This segment of See What's On is brought to you by SBS Carbon Copy, located on Main Street in Waterville. SBS is a family-owned business and has always been a strong supporter of the arts and community development. Visit them at mainprintingservices.com. The commode lesson.
Oh, well, that's easy. I mean, you're playing a clarinet, you can't see your fingers.
Right.
I mean, I can see the tops of my knuckles, but you can't see the instrument. I explain to kids, I say, look, if you've got a zit on your chin, what do? You stand in front of the mirror and identify it. Okay, so stand, if necessary, on the commode, look at your fingers in the bathroom mirror, and push that button and see what it does.
Okay.
And that's how I learned. I had the clarinet, and I'd look at it, I'd play a note, and I wonder what this one does. Oh, that's nice. I like the sound of that. And that keeps happening to me. I keep finding different fingerings, and all of a sudden, oh, I didn't know that would sound that way.
So even 79 years later,
I'm still struggling.
You're still standing on the commode, looking in the mirror.
Well, I don't balance that well on the commode, so I tend to stand somewhere else. But I'll be 80 next year. I figure if I had another 20 years of good health, I might figure out how the heck this.
How to play that?
I might figure it out. Or come closer to figuring it out. It throws curveballs at me all the time, which is I like that.
And you like the curveballs?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested in creating, and not the least bit interested in recreating. So I don't want to play like Benny. I don't want to play old Dixieland songs. I've done that, been there. What I play today will be history tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it.
You were also talking about a great story, and it had to do with Closer Walk.
It depends on the audience. If I've got an interested audience, that a little bit of the sort of a scenario of the history of how jazz came about in the first place. Mm-hmm. The story I tell is there was a little church somewhere right after the Civil War, and they didn't have necessarily a nice organ or piano. People would bring their instruments, and they'd play along with the choir. And one of the tunes they used to play was this. It's in the hymn book. It's Closer Walk with Thee or To Thee or something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They'd play that, and the scenario is that there was a funeral. The widow thought it would be nice to have some music on the procession, so going up the hill on the wagon with the coffin, maybe. They're playing that, and they'd get up there, and by the way, I think the term tailgate trombone came from that, because a slide, the guy had to sit on the tailgate of the wagon, or he's poking everybody else in the I think. I'm not guaranteeing that.
It sounds good.
It sounds good. Then they'd get up there and they'd do the burial service, and they'd come back to his house and they say, well, gee, he was a great guy, and let's drink up all his booze and remember what a great guy he was. And they start playing. It's not exactly party music. Right. There's something missing. And they discovered a couple of things right away. They discovered that if you emphasize the 1 and the 3, it's heavy as lead. But if you emphasize 2 and 4, just that subtle difference, it changes the whole feel to the thing. And then they had a problem of how fast are we going to go? And they didn't have a conductor, so they had a thing they invented called a pickup, which gives you the tempo. Down, or faster. So they established a tempo just with 3 little notes. And then I like to blame trumpet players, because he played that instead of, and we call it a clam. What he learned to do is the trick if you play a clam, and it's good advice for anybody learning an instrument, if you go up a half a step or down a half a step instantly, then it's going to be a right note. It works. That's easy to do. What's really tricky is the developing that smile on your face that you meant to do it that way. That takes years of practice. But so, or you can do that, and it all of a sudden starts sounding okay. And then what they decided was that they were tired of playing this cornball old tune over and over and over and over again. And so they just started throwing in the grace notes and the pickups in different places and started throwing the melody away. So what I do then is to play one time through pretty much straight and then put it into a jazz thing and throw it away and then come back, eventually play the tune. And it might work and it might not. I don't know. And that's, in a nutshell, the history of jazz.
History of jazz.
And you multiply that by every tune that was ever written. You can do that to anything. And,
fantastic concept. Let's break from our interview for a second to listen to Brad and his proteges from Krakow, Poland, performing Gershwin's I've Got Rhythm. That was a snippet of Brad Terry's I've Got Rhythm, recorded in Krakow, Poland. Now back to our interview.
My friend, I played a lot with a blind English piano player, Eddie Thompson. He once, at a concert, somebody asked for something really famous, and he said, "You mean like the Star Spangled Banner?" And he said, "Well, I've written a short form of the Star Spangled Banner, like income tax, you get a short form." And it goes... I think that's pretty nice. I wish they'd do that at most football games. You hear them warbling away and making it 10 times longer than it needs to be.
One more time.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
Isn't that nice?
I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, they should do that in front of every football game. Anyway, that's enough silliness for...
That's good. So we got the history of jazz. We've covered your early life, including Eli Terry and clockmaking, all the way up to tinkering with golf carts with Benny Goodman.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is encapsulated, and part of the purpose for getting together with you today is to talk about I feel more like I do now than I did yesterday. I don't know what the hell that means. But
well, join the club, because I don't either.
But it makes for an interesting interview. Yeah. And you talk about your mom and your dollar story or her money story.
Oh, well, that's one of the chapters in the book. It's called Second Stories. And it's stories that I collected from friends, stories that they could write about me that I sort of couldn't write about myself. Mm-hmm. And there's some very funny ones. The criteria, it had to be true, preferably funny, but not necessarily complimentary. And I've got some very funny stories from old campers and some very nice stories from people that I've known for a long, long time. There's one there from my mother. We lived in Holland for 9 years before World War II. I was born there. My parents moved the headquarters of the company into The Hague in 1931. My mother wrote letters home to New York to her mother on a regular basis. And 1937 comes along, and I appeared on the scene. And she wrote letters about the baby, meaning me. And at one point, she's talking about Mr. Watson coming into town and having, between his massage and his meeting with the Prime Minister of Holland, he managed to squeeze in a visit to my brother Peter and the baby, me. And I was not yet 6 months old, or maybe 6 months old. Apparently, Mr. Watson thrust some money into my hand, and I had a temper tantrum. I'd been all smiles, and I had a temper tantrum and threw it on the floor. And my mother's comment was that I hope he has a strong back and lots of talent to cope with his inability to deal with money. And it was Tom Watson of IBM, and it was apparently a $100 bill that I threw on the floor.
Threw it on the floor.
And so here I am, scrounging by on Social Security and looking for gigs. And she had my number when I was 6 months old.
She had it all figured out.
Had it all absolutely figured out. And there are a lot of stories like that.
What's the criteria on that again? It had to be...
True story.
True story.
Preferably funny. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily complimentary.
Okay.
So it could be something that I did was just stupid, like locking my keys in the car. You can write that story for the next book for me.
Okay. We'll add that into there.
Brad came into the studio, and guess what? He locked his keys into his van. But that's a first.
It's a first for you. Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe that. I've done that.
It's evolution on a roll here.
And you did tell me you're writing a new book.
It's
the working title.
It's very, very early planning stage. I'm trying to collect stories as I remember, weird things, funny things, serious things, whatever they happen to be, in no chronological order, no subject matter, just as they occur. They're going to go in the book just the way they are. And I think I'm going to call it Raking Leaves on a Windy Day.
And the subtitle?
The subtitle is To Hell With It, I'll Wait Till the Snow Melts. And I've got my nephew has already got a wonderful drawing of a sort of a Picasso kind of a guy with a blue face with a rake and the leaves going all over the place. I think it's wonderful. I'm having a good time.
Well, you are. And I know you've got grand plans for your 80th to hopefully end up in Krakow or somewhere in Poland.
Yeah.
You were talking about a great nightclub you love to perform in over there.
Yeah.
That was an interesting little story, too.
Well, it's
cave,
it's an extraordinary place in Warsaw. You can look it up. I think it's 1214 is the jazz club. But they have a room downstairs where the band is for music listeners, and they have another place where people go who if they want background music. So the audience downstairs is not talking, and it's quiet, and they come to listen. And I've played too many places where you're trying to play acoustic music, and there's a table having a birthday party right in front of you. And I just can't deal with that anymore. I just absolutely can't do it. If they want to listen, I'll play all night long.
Mm-hmm. And this is a great treat for you to go back. And
it'll be my 80th birthday, and it's also the 20th anniversary of meeting this incredible Polish trio of these 3 kids that I brought over here multiple times.
You have hopes on bringing them back to Maine sometime?
Well, I'd love to. I mean, the first couple of trips, it was if I could get sponsorship, and they were okay. A trip to McDonald's and a few things like that. But now they're all 20 years later. They're major league professional musicians. It's going to cost more than a free meal somewhere.
A happy meal, right?
I'd love to if I get some budget for it. I'd love to get them back here because they're phenomenal musicians, all 3 of them. They were all online. They were called Triology. But you look all the 3 names up online, and they all have websites and lots of recorded stuff that they're doing.
We'll take a commercial break and return to some more music and interview with Brad Terry. Welcome back. You're listening to See What's On Mix 107.9. You can hear recent shows that you may have missed on SeeWhat'sOn.com. That's the letter C, What's On, or on Facebook.com, Arts in Central Maine. Please take the time to send us your story ideas and calendar listings for upcoming arts events. Well, now we're back with our interview with Brad Terry. But let's start with another Gershwin tune arranged by Polish artist Jarek Smetana and recorded live in Poland. Here is But Not For Me. Coming up, and this is to bring us full circle, not far away. You're going to be performing at Lenny's in Westbrook.
In Westbrook, yeah.
A couple of concerts, I believe.
Yeah, we're there the 13th and the 20th of November.
Oh, that's today and next Sunday.
They have a website.
Okay, Lenny's, and named after your friend.
Named after Lenny Bro.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've heard a great deal about this nightclub and the quality of music, and it's obviously a great way to bring this full circle. And
yeah, I was a little nervous because it tends to be noisy, but this is definitely being billed as a concert. And the owner, Bill Humble, has said that he's going to try and suggest to people that hopefully we get people in there listening, which will discourage the people from talking too loud in the back of the room.
So the 60%, not the 40%.
Yeah, I want the 60% listeners, or 99% would be
99% listening.
Yeah.
And emulate that Polish nightclub.
And it's kind of, because I'm playing with a bass player. His name is Vaughn DeForest. He was a major league musician in New York, playing bass and trumpet. And when the rock and roll thing came in, he just gave it up. Went back to school, eventually became a doctor, an MD, an emergency room doctor. And he retired from that a couple of years ago. And now all he wants to do is to play the bass. And he's a phenomenal musician, really, really amazing player. And we also have a guitar player. He lives up in Belfast. His name is David Clark.
Okay.
With an E. It's very important. It's got an E on the end.
All right.
And he's a wonderful, wonderful guitar player. We played a thing at the Wiscasset Art Walk as a trio for the first time a couple of weeks ago. And it blended in perfectly. He was fit right in very comfortably, listening a lot. Everything was perfect. He told me that he had a 21-year-old son who was graduating from music school the next day. And I started thinking and realized that David, the guitar player, when I had my camp on Vinyl Haven, he was there as a 12-year-old.
Wow.
Playing clarinet back in those days.
Okay.
And so it's been, I don't know how many years that is.
Lots of years.
So he's a wonderful player. It'll be a fun gig. We play tunes, and we play quietly, and practically no amplification. Nobody needs earplugs, which is rare.
All right.
You know, usually it's loud, 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 and we're just the opposite.
Well, there's so much more in your book. I feel more like I do now than I did yesterday. This is just by no means the end of the stories. I can tell. More to come.
Yeah.
But people can get this book online.
I've got a whole chapter of little, what do you call them, vignettes, little sketches. One about Benny Goodman, one about Marshall Dodge, who I had a very close personal relationship. Pretty funny story about spending some time with Dizzy Gillespie. And so those are kind of interesting stories really that I can tell because they happen to me. And
now, do they fit the criteria? Are they true?
Oh, yeah, no, but I wrote those.
Humorous?
So I can lie all I want.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're true stories. And then it goes back to my early school days.
Okay.
And living in London when I was 9 years old in 1945, 46 with unexploded V2 bombs going off in the middle of the night. And that was pretty exciting for a 9-year-old. I'm so amazed that somebody like Dizzy Gillespie would invite me to New York and want me to play with him. And it's such an honor to have somebody at that level think I was doing something. So I was always, this makes no sense. Why are they calling me? I still feel that way.
Well, I think that humbleness is why, and I'm sure people listening in today would agree.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a reason for all of that.
I don't know.
We thank you very much, Brad.
Well, this has been a ball, and I hope to see lots of people. Oh, can I tell you that the book, if you email me, I'm trying to figure out if any of your listeners can help me open a PayPal account.
Open a PayPal. Oh, I'm sure there are.
There's somebody out there that can help me.
Okay.
I've got my garage door opener working really well, but that's about it as far as. And I keep locking my keys in my car.
Maybe the AAA driver can help you.
Yeah, let's find his name. But if they write me, it's Bradskiter, BRADSKI. T-E-R-R.
Which is a Polish affection.
My Polish,
Bradski.
When I first tripped to Poland, I'd put ski on the end of English words and figure it was Polish words, and they thought it was funny, and they nicknamed me Bradsky.
Bradsky Ter, T-E-R-R.
Yeah, at Yahoo.
At Yahoo.
And if you put your name and address, I will give you the details of how to order it. I sell them for $30, including postage anywhere in the United States. They're available at Gulf of Maine Books, I think, and also at Lulu Publishing.
Okay.
Just Lulu Publishing, and type in my name and it comes up and you can order direct from them.
These people today are so able on Google, they can find almost anything.
They can find
anything.
They can find anything.
Thank you so much. And for the other musical numbers that we'll play as part of today's interview, it's been great, Brad.
Well, I've enjoyed it a lot.
Great.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll have you back again.
I hope so.
All right. Well, that's our show for this week. From the commode to you, we'll welcome you back next week. I really want to thank our special guest, Brad Perry. Hope you can join him this afternoon at Lenny's in Westbrook. I would also like to say a special thanks to Gatsby for technical assistance in producing this show here on 107.9 The Mix. My partner, Gary Pullen, and I hope you reach out to us on Facebook and visit our website at seewhatson.com. Remember, that's the letter C, whatson.com. And share that with your friends. We look forward to seeing you next Sunday for more features about the arts in Central Maine. That's it for me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And remember, if it's on, See What's On.